Peter Hancock at Capital News, this law has been on the books for years, making violations of IDPH orders a Class A misdemeanor. How is this illegal and improper?
Sure. This is DM Mazzochi. I'm happy to answer that one. If you look at the actual statute, 20 ILCS 2305/2 parentheses C, to the extent that the IDPH has any authority to order isolation or quarantine, because this is the statute that the governor is trying to run under. It says, except as provided in this section, no person or group of persons may be ordered to be quarantined or isolated, and no place may be ordered to be closed and made off limits to the public, except with the consent of the person or owner of the place, or upon prior order of a court of competent jurisdiction. And even to get that court order, you have to not only file for it within 48 hours, but the state also has the burden of showing that all other reasonable means of correcting the problem have been exhausted and no less restrictive alternative exists. They can't meet that standard. And when you look further on, if you look in subsection G, to the extent you start getting into taking of property, and particularly this one has to do with animals in connection with public health, then you also have to agree on what you're going to compensate the owner for what you're actually taking from them as a consequence of your public health order. So I completely disagree that the governor taking this general catch-all section in section 8.1 is somehow able to expand the scope of the agency. The agency only has the scope of authority that the statute gives it, and they can't now start going outside the scope of their regulatory authority and saying, oh, well, now we're going to get rid of those due process protections that we put in the statute. We're going to get rid of those 48-hour provisions. We're going to get rid of those least restrictive notice provisions. We're just going to make a rule that jettisons that. No agency has the authority to contradict the statute, to go outside the scope of their legislative authority, and the governor's order does just that.